There's a fascinating age-old concept in psychology that has been rigorously tested across countless studies over many years. Honestly, it challenges and flips on its head almost everything most men think they know about attraction. This concept is known as the scarcity mindset. At its core, the scarcity mindset is the belief that something is rare, hard to come by, or simply in short supply. When someone truly believes this, their behavior changes, often in ways they don't even consciously realize. The scarcity mindset fundamentally affects how people value things, including relationships and interactions with others. When you're caught in this mindset, you tend to place a higher value on what you think is scarce. You fear losing it more intensely, and you often find yourself tolerating behaviors or situations that, under normal circumstances, you wouldn't accept. In practical terms, this means you might settle for less than you deserve, or act in ways that don't reflect your true desires or standards. For men, this mindset can be particularly damaging when it comes to how they approach and interact with women. Because when you feel like the opportunity to connect with a certain woman is rare, or maybe even the only chance you'll ever get, your decision-making process starts to suffer. You become less clear-headed, more anxious, and more prone to making poor choices in relationships. What's truly interesting and often overlooked is that the scarcity mindset isn't just about money, possessions, or tangible resources. It also applies deeply to how we view people. Take, for example, the belief that a particular woman is one of a kind. If you convince yourself that you'll never meet anyone like her again, or that she's your only shot at love or connection, your brain immediately switches into what we could call chase mode. And once you're in this state, everything changes. You start to become much more agreeable, almost to a fault. You second guess your own thoughts and feelings and avoid speaking your mind honestly, all in an attempt to keep the peace or maintain the relationship. Gradually, you begin to act as if this relationship or interaction with this one woman is more important than your own personal boundaries or standards, more important than your own sense of self. Why does this happen? It's because at some point, your brain decided that this woman is rare, special, and irreplaceable. And so, your mind tells you, I cannot afford to lose this. I have to hold on at all costs. This mindset can cause you to lose sight of your own worth and to sacrifice your confidence, authenticity, and agency. Now let's zoom in and really apply this scarcity mindset to the realm of women and attraction. Picture this. You're talking to a woman who genuinely captures your interest. She's beautiful, funny, smart. She checks all the boxes you've set, and you find yourself really drawn to her. At first, things flow naturally. You're relaxed, confident, and enjoying the interaction. But then, almost imperceptibly, you start to feel something shift inside. You notice your behavior beginning to change. Without even fully realizing it, you start trying harder, carefully choosing your words, monitoring your every move, and you begin to walk on eggshells around her. Here's where it gets really interesting. Women are extraordinarily attuned to emotional signals. They have a keen sensitivity to subtle cues like your body language, tone of voice, and overall energy. It's not necessarily about what you say or whether you make an obvious mistake. Often, it's about the energy you're radiating. Women can instinctively sense when you've shifted from being your authentic self to someone who is nervous, hesitant, or overly eager. When this shift happens, when you move from a place of relaxed confidence and abundance to a state of being impressed, careful, and cautious, everything changes in the dynamic between you two. Instead of engaging as equals or in a balanced way, the interaction starts to feel one-sided. You begin to pedestalize her, putting her on a pedestal as if she is this rare, unattainable prize, and this completely alters the tone of your connection. This subtle but powerful change in your energy flips the entire dynamic on its head. Suddenly, she holds the emotional reins, not because she intended to, nor because she's trying to manipulate the situation, but simply because you've given her that power by signaling scarcity. By acting as though you can't afford to lose her, you unconsciously surrender your own power and control in the interaction. In essence, you've created a scenario where she's the one with the upper hand, not because she sought it, but because you handed it to her by behaving as though she's the rare exception you can never replace. This shift can dramatically affect the way the relationship develops, often leading to imbalance and frustration. Quick break. Close your eyes for a second. Picture her, the girl you've always wanted. Feel what it would be like to actually have her. Now open your eyes, because here's the truth. Right now, you're invisible to her. You're getting outcompeted by guys with more money, better looks, higher status, and stronger game. You're playing a rigged game, and you're losing. But I've spent the last 35 years mastering this, studying, testing, and finally finding the secrets to get the girls I always wanted. You want to stop getting ignored? You want her chasing you? Then you need to wake up and act. Click the link in the comments if you are truly committed and take the first step toward becoming that guy. Few spots left. Be fast or miss out your last chance to make her yours. Let's get back to it. Now, this is where the concept of perceived social leverage comes into play. In human behavior, people naturally gravitate toward those who seem like they have options, not just in romance, but in life more broadly. Whether it's about money, lifestyle, social status, or opportunities, individuals who appear to have choices are inherently more attractive and influential. This is why you often see that someone who acts like they have nothing to lose is actually the one who ends up gaining the most. It's a paradox. The men who appear the least desperate for women, the ones who seem indifferent or unaffected by rejection, are usually the ones who attract the most attention from women. They radiate a sense of abundance, confidence, and freedom that is magnetic. And it's not just a coincidence, it's deeply rooted in human psychology. So, what does this mean for you? It means that if you can truly act like you can walk away from any situation at any time, if you believe, even if it's just in your mind, that you have other options and other paths, women pick up on that on an almost instinctual level. That belief and behavior completely shift the way they perceive you. It changes the entire dynamic of your interactions, often in your favor. What many men never fully grasp is that the guys who win with women, the ones who consistently attract and maintain interest, operate with a very different mindset than those who struggle. One key difference is that they act as if all women are replaceable, even if in reality they are not. This idea is especially important for men who are already in relationships, whether dating seriously, engaged, or married. It's incredibly tempting in these situations to put a woman on a pedestal, to convince yourself that she's irreplaceable, that your life wouldn't be the same without her. This mindset often leads to vulnerability and a loss of personal power. But here's the truth. The most attractive men, the ones who get attention, validation, and genuine connection, don't fall into this trap. They maintain the mindset that women are replaceable, even if they deeply care about the person they're with. It's not because they're cold-hearted or indifferent, although yes, some might be, but because they understand the importance of maintaining their power, their agency, and their sense of self. They never allow any woman to take away their power or control. They don't hand over their agency or emotional leverage to anyone. This is a critical part of what makes them confident and magnetic. They know that maintaining this balance protects their value and keeps the dynamic healthy and respectful. This is, without question, one of the most crucial insights you can grasp if your goal is to become dramatically more attractive. I'm talking about becoming 100 times more magnetic in the eyes of women. At its very essence, this isn't about flashy tactics or superficial tricks. It all boils down to mindset. It's the way you think about yourself, about women, and about attraction that determines your success. Here's the truth. Attracting women is not some complicated mystery reserved for a select few. It's actually quite simple. So simple that most men overlook the foundational principle behind it. Your beliefs shape your behavior, and your behavior shapes your results. This chain reaction is powerful and unbreakable. When you genuinely hold a mindset of abundance, when you truly believe that women are replaceable, even if logically or emotionally that might not always seem true, it changes your entire approach to dating and relationships. Holding on to this abundance mindset means you deeply believe there will always be other women out there, other opportunities for connection, and other chances to build something meaningful. Even if one woman doesn't reciprocate your feelings or rejects you outright, you don't internalize that as a personal failure or the end of the road. Instead, you see it as just one of many possibilities. Whether or not this is strictly true at every moment, the power is in your belief itself. This belief liberates you and gives you emotional freedom, which is incredibly attractive. This mindset shift does more than just change your internal dialogue. It puts you in control. It places you firmly in the driver's seat of your dating life. When you operate from this place of confidence and abundance, the entire dynamic you share with women shifts profoundly. Your energy changes, your behavior becomes more genuine and relaxed, and the subtle signals you send out communicate strength, independence, and self-respect. The most fascinating part is how this shift happens on an unconscious level. When you change what you believe about yourself and your relationship to women, your behavior automatically follows. You begin to act in ways that confirm your new beliefs without even thinking about it. This is a classic psychological phenomenon called the self-fulfilling prophecy. Your thoughts create your actions, and your actions bring your beliefs to life. Now, here's the key point that many guys miss. Women don't have access to your internal thoughts, fears, or insecurities. They can't read your mind. All they can pick up on is your behavior, how you carry yourself, the energy you emit, your confidence, and how you interact with them. Even though your behavior often gives away what you're thinking, it's still the external actions that dictate how women respond to you. So, if you want to change the way women treat you, the starting point has to be a mindset shift. You must embrace the idea that women are replaceable, that you have options, and that you hold the power. When your behavior aligns with this mindset, when you act from abundance rather than scarcity, the results will naturally follow. You'll notice women responding to you differently, showing more interest, and treating you with respect and attraction. When you take a close look at the mindset differences between the men who succeed with women and the overwhelming majority, the 90% who struggle or fail, you uncover a fundamental distinction in how they perceive themselves and the women they desire. If you could peer inside the minds of those men who don't get the results they want, you'd notice a recurring belief. They think women are irreplaceable. In other words, the moment a woman gives them a little bit of attention or shows any interest, they treat her as if she's a one-of-a-kind treasure, someone so rare that losing her would be devastating. This belief is deeply rooted in scarcity thinking, where opportunities feel limited and every chance counts like gold. Now, while this mindset might seem natural or even sensible on the surface, it paradoxically becomes their undoing. Because they perceive this attention as rare and precious, these men begin to behave in ways that actually sabotage their chances. They become excessively agreeable, overly accommodating, and lose sight of their own needs and standards. Instead of being confident and authentic, they try too hard to please, to avoid conflict, and to keep the woman interested. Unfortunately, this over-eagerness comes across as needy or desperate, and instead of attracting, it repels. What they don't realize is that attraction thrives on balance between interest and mystery, confidence and vulnerability, availability and challenge. By becoming too agreeable, too nice, and too eager to please, these men disrupt that balance. The natural tension and spark that creates chemistry vanish, and women unconsciously pick up on this shift. Rather than drawing the woman closer, they end up pushing her away, often without understanding why. In stark contrast, men who cultivate an abundance mindset approach attraction from a completely different perspective. These men genuinely believe, deep down, that women are replaceable. This doesn't mean they are cold-hearted or uncaring. On the contrary, it means they respect themselves enough to know that their worth isn't tied to any single woman. Whether or not they currently have a wide array of options doesn't matter. The belief alone empowers them. This mindset changes everything. When a man behaves like he knows he has options, it radiates confidence and self-assuredness. He no longer chases or begs for attention, and he doesn't sacrifice his values to keep a woman interested. Instead, he interacts from a place of power, calmness, and genuine curiosity. This subtle shift in energy is what women instinctively notice, and it's magnetic. Even if you don't have multiple options right now, adopting this mindset puts you in the driver's seat. It changes the entire dynamic between you and women because you're no longer operating out of fear or neediness. Instead, you're operating from strength, which creates attraction effortlessly. Here's the reality that many men struggle to accept. Women, whether consciously or unconsciously, tend to be drawn to a small percentage of men, the top 5 to 10% who exhibit high social value, confidence, and an aura of having choices. These men don't have to try hard, they naturally attract attention and desire. Women would often prefer to share men from this elite group rather than settle for the remaining 90 to 95% who lack these qualities. It's a tough truth, but understanding it gives you the power to change your approach. You can either resist and remain stuck in a cycle of frustration, or you can adapt your mindset, shift your behavior, and start moving toward the kind of success and attraction you want. Ultimately, it all comes down to how you see yourself and how you choose to relate to women. When you accept that you have value independent of any one woman, when you believe in your own abundance, you unlock a level of confidence that makes you genuinely irresistible. That's the secret. Mindset is everything. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you being here. If this message spoke to you or gave you something to think about, do me a favor. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new drop. I've got more real talk, more growth, and more power coming your way, so stay locked in. And if you're going through something right now, just remember, your silence can say more than 1,000 words ever could. Take care of yourself, keep rising, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.